Hi, I'm Karen Gertz. I'm running for Tennessee State House of Representatives, District 20 here in Blount County. I feel like I'm a strong candidate because I've made Maryville my chosen home. Just as a little background about me, I was a Navy kid, so I grew up living all over the U.S., and I feel like that gave me a really good perspective on different cultures and communities, different ways of living and ways of thinking. I earned my bachelor's degree in biology from Maryville College, went away for work. I decided to come back to Maryville because I felt like it was the place that was the most like home for me. I've worked in the science industry in quality assurance, technical writing, and auditing, and also in the consulting area of that industry. It's given me a really good ability to work with lots of different types of people, to negotiate solutions that best meet the needs of all parties, which I think would stand me in very good stead for the Tennessee State Legislature. And another reason I think I would be a good candidate for the Tennessee House District 20 is because I have been a lifelong advocate for others. From my childhood onward, I have advocated for people who didn't have a voice, who were vulnerable, or who were treated differently than others because they didn't conform to the status quo. I've never been afraid to stand up for what's right. And I have always believed that everybody deserves to be treated with dignity and respect, no matter what they believe, who they are, or who they love. So I want to bring those values to the Tennessee House so that my constituents know they have a representative that really listens to their concerns and who wants to put their needs at the forefront of decision making. I feel like the most significant issues facing the state of Tennessee are the erosion of equal rights, both from a perspective of reproductive rights and LGBTQ rights, and also the epidemic of gun violence in our schools and in our communities. In addition, I also feel like healthcare access is lacking in Tennessee, and there's the issue of the full funding of our public schools. As far as reproductive rights goes, I don't know anybody who wants to get an abortion. I support improving access to birth control and family planning so that we try our best to prevent unwanted pregnancies so that we can reduce the instances of abortion. If birth control fails or if you have medical issues, you should not have to put your life on the line. In addition, statistically, 1 out of every 3 women in the U.S. will be sexually assaulted in their lifetime. And we should not be forcing women or girls to carry a pregnancy to term. A ProRepublica news article recently came out that detailed the outcomes of 2 Georgia women who became pregnant and who died as a result of abortion restrictions. That occurred back in 2022, and those cases are just now coming to light. So who knows how many more women and girls are going through the same thing, and how many do we have to let die before we do something about it? As far as LGBTQ rights go, about 10% of our population is part of that community. They vote the same way that I do, they pay taxes like I do, and there is no reason that they should not receive the same rights as I do. I think that to not treat people equally is a violation of the principles on which our country is founded. As far as gun violence is concerned, we need to enact measures that prevent more senseless tragedies. I want to clarify that I have a lot of friends who are gun owners, and I respect their responsible use, storage, training of guns. I'm not against the Second Amendment, but I also don't believe that private citizens should have access to assault weapons. And I also highly question the ability of our public school teachers to repel an active shooter. Regarding healthcare, we need to expand access, not remove access. We have lost over 15 rural hospitals within the state of Tennessee due to the lack of expansion of Medicaid. So now a lot of our rural citizens are having to drive far distances to get the health care they need. And in addition, those that are uninsured don't have the access because they can't afford that health care. And we need to provide health care to all of Tennesseans, not just those who can afford that health care. In addition to the issues that I discussed for the state, I feel like the issues that are the most significant facing Blount County are the lack of affordable housing, the lack of state-mandated minimum wage that is actually a living wage, and also the struggles that we're facing with the need for growing infrastructure which is in conflict with the need to protect our natural resources. I've heard from numerous constituents here in Blount County that they think they may no longer be able to stay here because of the rising rental rates or the inability for them to afford a house because the housing prices have gotten so high. And these are a lot of people who have been lifelong Blount Countyans who are facing the possibility that they're going to have to leave everything and everyone they know behind because they just cannot afford to live here anymore. Feeding into that is the lack of a state-mandated living wage, a wage that people can actually afford housing, food, utilities, healthcare, everything they need to live a good, healthy, safe life. I've also heard from people who say they're working 2 to 3 jobs and they still can't afford to barely make ends meet. And that's just unacceptable that we have that situation happening in Blount County and across Tennessee. In terms of the challenges we're facing with our current infrastructure, obviously we all know that we have an influx of new people in Blount County, and with that influx of new people, we need additional roads, we need additional housing, we need utilities, and we need schools to accommodate all these new folks that are coming here. But obviously that also creates a conflict of interest when we're deciding on building additional infrastructure and how that's going to affect our rural spaces. Our rural spaces are part of what makes Blount County so special, so we definitely need to protect them. And I admit that I don't have the background to have a solution for that issue, but I am most willing to discuss with all relevant parties, city planners, engineers, environmentalists, and other relevant groups so that I can get the most expert information and make informed decisions to know how to go forward to balance the infrastructure in our rural spaces. My position on the school vouchers program is that I am 100% against school vouchers. I believe that public funds, taxpayer money, should be only devoted to public schools. And not only from that perspective, but because some of our private schools are faith-based schools, and that allows them to have exemptions in terms of the requirements for licensure or certification of both teachers and facilities that are not up to the same standards that we require for our public schools. So not only do we not know if students are getting the same level of education they would get in a public school, we also don't know if the facilities are up to par and providing a safe environment for those students to learn. I believe that we need to give every student in Blount County a chance for an equal, fair, and robust education. And we also need to be cognizant that taxpayers need to get value for their dollars. My position on the completion of the Pellissippi Parkway is that as of now, I am not in support of that. I am in support of new infrastructure in Blount County, as I had mentioned in an earlier question, but the infrastructure development needs to be approached in a very deliberate and very calculated way. It's important, but we need to think about more of how we're going to approach that issue. And up to this point, I haven't seen any evidence that would support spending over $300 million to add 4 miles of interstate. So right now I'm having a hard time supporting that, and it also would not really reduce congestion in the Maryville core. And then also from a constituent perspective, if you're going to take people's lands to build a public project, it really needs to matter. We need to be thoughtful, we need to be deliberate, because people in this area value their rural spaces and we need to protect them. So, and there's also a large contingency of folks who don't want to extend the Pellissippi Parkway. And as a state representative, I need to listen to what those folks want. And again, we also need to be fiscally responsible with taxpayer dollars. What it would mean for me to have this position and support the people in this area, I would be extremely honored to be a representative for my community here in Blount County, because the Blount Countyans is really one of the main reasons that I came back and made Maryville my home, because the people here are the warmest and most welcoming and wonderful people that I have ever met of any of the places, the numerous places I have lived. And I feel blessed to be part of this community, and I would feel really blessed to be representing them in all their different shades and colors and perspectives and just being a voice for them in Nashville.